Hello and welcome to week 5. We've made it halfway through our first course. Everyone's still alive. Everybody hopefully is doing okay. If you have any questions, please go ahead and contact me. I'm here to help you through this process. And I'll keep saying that the whole time that we're together. So some reminders about what is due this week. You're watching the instructor overview video now. You're going to be reading chapters 4 and 5 in Hendricks, and you're going to read the Jacob and Ferguson article. There's a video on the IRB process. Make sure that you spend a lot of time watching that, thinking about it, review the IRB application itself. Let me know what questions you have. Typically, you submit the IRB application during week 7 of the course, but if it is ready earlier, I highly encourage you to submit it as soon as it's ready. You submit it by submitting it to me, and then I approve it, and I am the one who passes it on to the IRB committee at Concordia Irvine. You need to make sure that you include your NIH certificates for each member of your group. It asks for mine as well. You don't need to include mine because Concordia already has it on file. I will be posting some frequently asked questions that'll help you with the IRB application process. I'll be doing that a little bit closer to week 7, but if you and your group are ready earlier than that, let me know and I'll send you that information ahead of time to answer some of those questions that you may have about the IRB process. But again, submitting it early is good. You beat the rush, which means that you get a response back faster. Remember that you cannot start any of your data collection, you can't start your intervention until you have IRB approval. So it's very, very important to get that as soon as you can. You have a self-paced lesson to do. You're going to submit assignment number 4, which is on chapter 1, and assignment number 5, which is on chapter 2, and your references. I'll get to those in just a minute. And in the discussion board this week, you're talking about designing a qualitative survey. The difference between qualitative and quantitative is qualitative is going to focus on words, quantitative focuses more on numbers. Your surveys really need to be more qualitative in nature. The point of having you share your questions on the discussion board is it gives other people an opportunity to provide feedback for you on your questions. Perhaps there's a better way to word what it is that you're trying to ask to elicit more detailed responses. So really use this opportunity to read over and digest the questions that your peers are asking, and feel free to share whatever feedback you have on the questions that they're asking and what type of responses the way that the question is worded will elicit. Because it's really amazing how just changing the wording of the question can change the responses that you receive. If you're not familiar with Google Forms already, Google Forms is a wonderful tool that can really help when you're using a survey, and it will assemble all of the responses for you into a spreadsheet so it can save you some time. Some other students have used SurveyMonkey. Other students like old-fashioned paper and pencil, and that just takes a little bit longer to compile. So there's lots of resources available to you to actually design your survey, but you need to think about your population that you are surveying, and think about how technology savvy they are when you're thinking about how you're going to design your survey. So assignment number 4, chapter 1, you wrote a lot of chapter 1, or hopefully you and your partners wrote a lot of chapter 1 during week 2 of our course. And so now you're going to go back and you're going to refine that. In the Google Doc that there's a link to in our weekly lessons, there is a checklist, and it gives you a checklist of things to consider for the problem, for the purpose, for the definition of terms. So, and this is based on the rubric. So you can also go to the rubric itself, which is located in the Capstone Handbook, and review all of this information and make sure that your chapter 1 includes this. Remember, the more work that you put into chapter 1 now, the less work you have to do later. Please, 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 when you get to a good stopping point with your chapter 1, submit it to the Writing Center. Even if you are a strong writer, there is a lot of feedback that they can provide for you. Also, when it comes time to submit your final capstone project at the end of the program, the Writing Center will only accept it 1 chapter at a time. So if you can submit it chapter by chapter as you go along, it'll get back to you a lot faster. Your work will be it'll be stronger, and yeah, you just need to remember that you can only submit it chapter by chapter anyway. So when you get chapter 1 to a good point this week or next week, go ahead and send it to the Writing Center for feedback. And definitely do Grammarly first just to get that feedback too. Remember, that one's instant. The Writing Center takes a couple days. But I'm sure that you'll find that process to be very, very valuable. So review the checklist, review the rubric. If you have any questions on that, let me know. Assignment number 5 is basically the same thing, only it's on chapter 2. There's another checklist that's listed in the Google Doc that is asking questions about it. I am in the process of reviewing the peer reviews of the literature review. Those might take me a little bit to get back to you. I will be emailing you yours as well as the one that you reviewed, because I think it's important for you to see my feedback on your peer's paper that you reviewed, so you can see what areas I agree with you, what areas I also highlighted. What I'm noticing so far is I'm noticing we need to work on the paraphrasing. So make sure that we're paraphrasing properly, and that the work is really a synthesis. Remember, every paragraph needs to have multiple citations from multiple authors. Otherwise, it's really just a report on this author said this and this author said that, and that is not the purpose of a lit review. It's supposed to be a synthesis of what multiple authors said on that topic. So again, go over that checklist that is in the Google Doc for assignment number 5. If you have any questions at all, you know that I am here to support you in any way that I can. I'm happy to meet with your group at any point. We can do it via Blackboard Collaborate. We can do it online. We can just have a traditional conference call. Whatever works for you, we can make something work for me. So you guys are doing wonderfully. I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing. And remember that I am here to help however I can. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.